We are joined by one of the nation's top scorers, a leader on this BYU basketball team, Tyler Haws, who has a little more free time on his hands these days after a really successful yet emotional season. Tyler, what are you doing with your free hours these days?
Gosh, no, I'm trying to get caught up in school, trying to just relax a little bit and clear my mind, and we'll start up again in a few weeks.
Reestablish yourself in the dating game. Yep.
Exactly. No, I probably should start dating again.
Yeah, and you've started with your clothes. You look like something from like Step Up or something, like you're going to go street dance. Is there any motivation to this look? It looks relaxing.
It is. It's my relaxed look and
sweatshirt,
my brother's hat.
So TJ, if TJ's watching, listening, he's like, "Hey, that's my hat. What the heck?"
Yeah, oh for sure. Yeah, I'll hear about it.
There's nothing he can do about it though, because it's TV, and you're here and he's not. That's the great part about it. Tyler Haws, BYU basketball player, joining BYU Sports Nation. This season, Tyler, from my perspective, was the entire spectrum of emotions that a team can possibly go through. Injuries, big wins, tough losses. How would you sum up BYU basketball this season?
I think it was a successful year, but a challenging year. I mean, there were points in the year where it felt like all was lost. I mean, around Christmas time and around New Year's, I mean, we had lost 4 in a row, but I was really proud of just our fight and the way guys stayed together, and we were able to turn our conference around and make it to the championship game of our tournament and make it to the NCAA tournament. So I was really proud of the way our guys stuck together and hung in there.
And I was impressed by there were a couple of low points that BYU basketball hadn't really encountered in seasons past because you played a tougher schedule. Mm-hmm. What was the lowest of those points?
Gosh, probably when we lost to Utah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take losses from like Iowa State and Wichita State, and I mean they still hurt, but those are really good teams, and you just hate losing to the guys in red and by that big of a margin. So, I mean, there's lots of things we need to look back on and learn from and get better at. But I mean, we have most of our guys back next year, and so hopefully all of our experience this year will help us next year.
So I asked you about the low point. So what was the high point?
Yeah, let's switch it up.
Let's get that out of the way.
High point.
Besides the Chicago lip sync.
Yeah, that was definitely
which got you more on the map, my friend.
I guess so. I took a lot of grief for that. Probably the high point was probably when we beat St. Mary's at home, beat Gonzaga at home, and then we went to St. Mary's and won. I was just that was a really fun time for our guys. Just because we hadn't beat St. Mary's yet, and it had been a while since we had beaten Gonzaga, and so that was definitely a fun time of the year.
When you are announced as a 10 seed in the NCAA tournament and find out that not only are we in, but we're not even close to one of the last 4 teams in, how validating was that moment for you as a team?
It was very validating, and we have to give a lot of credit to our coaches and the people that put our schedule together. I think there's something to be said for going out and playing against really good teams and challenging yourself in the preseason, and that's what we did, and we weren't afraid to play anyone. And it was fun throughout the year to follow teams and be like, yeah, we played them, and we know we can compete with anyone.
Stanford in the Sweet 16. Iowa State in the Sweet 16. Wichita State was supposed to be in the Sweet 16. Come on. Messed up my bracket. Do you kind of root for the teams that you played against that maybe helps you feel better in some way about the season?
No, for sure. No, I root for them. It's fun to watch those guys and people that you've played against and that you can compete with. And so, yeah, for sure, I'm definitely rooting for them. I was rooting for Wichita State, too. I wanted them to go far.
Come on, boys.
Tyler Haws joining BYU Sports Nation, the nation's 7th leading scorer this season, and on pace.
I have him for 6.
It's number 6. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry to slight you like that, Tyler.
23.2 points per game,
How dare I do that?
Just a few more points less than Doug McDermott, your homeboy from the university games.
Nice.
Jerem's here to keep things straight.
Right.
Okay?
Keeps us on track.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was 7 last year, 6 this year.
Okay.
So fifth next year?
5th next year.
And I feel smaller now. You win, Jerem.
3, 2, and 1. Let's start this over.
Yeah, is this live? Tyler Haws on BYU Sports Nation. You take on Oregon for the second time in the NCAA tournament, and you battle in that game. You're within 8 at halftime. You get the game to within 3. I believe you're down 59-56 or 56-53, something like that. What happened at that point in the game where you kind of felt things slip off the rails?
Gosh, no, we were just fighting and battling to get back in the game, and we hit some big shots to cut it to 3. And you got to give Oregon a lot of credit. We tried to take away, a few things that they wanted to do, and they just countered it and were able to make free throws. And they were hitting their shots in that mid-range area, and they just made plays to break it back open, which was tough. But they're a really good team.
What are the positives you take away from a game like that?
I think it's just experience for our guys. A lot of our guys hadn't been to the NCAA tournament, and so just to be there and play under lights like that, and just the whole tournament atmosphere is really good experience for us in our program.
Tyler Haws is on BYU Sports Nation. Before we move on to looking ahead to next year, at the beginning of the year, I looked at the roster and I saw, 10 scholarship players, a little undermanned due to scholarship. You have guys coming back this next year and freshmen and whatnot. And then no seniors. So I thought this will be an interesting year because there's talent on this team, but I'm not sure what the expectation is. I thought NCAA tournament, and you got to the NCAA tournament. Were you satisfied with the season, or are you left wanting a little bit more? It was a week ago. I imagine there's some of that, but how did you feel about it?
No, I feel satisfied with the way we finished and the way we, hung with it. And when at certain points in the year, it felt like we could have gone sideways or, things were done. But there's definitely a lot of motivation going into next season. We want to win our conference, and we're going to, evaluate things we need to get better at and have a really good off season and make that our number one priority.
We talk about the expectations for next season. In fact, that's our Twitter question today. What are the expectations for BYU basketball according to the fans? What are your expectations for this team next year? Besides winning a conference championship, which you just said.
I think just continue to build on the things that we learned this year. Take no steps backward. We have to get better on the defensive end of the floor. Everyone on this team can score. Everyone's really capable and talented that way. And so if we can figure out a way to play defense and get stops consistently, I think we can be really good next year.
Scary good. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, scoring the ball, not a problem. You guys finished top 10 in scoring offense, one of the best in the country. The number one team in the NCAA tournament as well. So you guys figured that out. So defensively as a team, but you as an individual, how do you get better going into your senior season, a season in which you may pass Jimmer Fredette for the career points?
Yeah. No, there's little things that I'm gonna have to sit down and I'll watch all my clips, all my shots, all my turnovers. Some of that stuff's hard to watch, but there's lots of little things I can do better at, and then I obviously need to become a better defender, and that's something going forward and at the next level that you have to have in your game.
Tyler Haws on BYU Sports Nation with Spencer Linton and Jerem Jordan. Kyle Collinsworth is just a tough injury at a really bad time. He says he's been losing some weight, but he seems to be positive. In your contact with him and the communication you've had with him since the injury, what has that been like?
Yeah, no, it's tough. There's no way around of it being a really tough situation. You hate to see a guy like Kyle go down like that and have to go through, a 6-month process like he's going through. But I've been really impressed with his attitude and his just how positive he is about everything. And we went over to his apartment when we got back from the conference tournament, and we didn't talk too much about his knee, but he was on crutches. He has a little basketball hoop in his house that he was still messing around on.
Getting shots up.
Yeah, we're like, Kyle, take it easy, bro. But he's got a good outlook on life, and he'll be back.
Tyler Haws is on BYU Sports Nation. You lose Eric Mika to a mission. His girlfriend got her mission called to the same mission. Crazy.
Yeah, what in the world?
I
Yeah.
don't know. How nice would that be?
A girlfriend? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, wow.
Additions to next year's team as we awkwardly transition.
Yes.
Jamal Aites, Isaac Nielsen, Ryan Andrus, post players, Chase Fisher, Jordan Chapman, the guards. What kind of impact do you think they'll have on next year's team, as I still feel funny about saying that comment?
No, I think they'll have a really big impact. We expect Isaac and Jamal to come in and establish a big presence for us inside and try and fill that role that Eric played this year. And then, obviously Chase and Jordan, they're really good shooters and really good playmakers coming in. And so we're excited to have them. And then Ryan Andrus, too, really good local kid. And just another solid presence inside.
But he went to American Fork. You can embrace that? Being a Lone Peak guy?
I have to, right? I'm forced to.
Fair enough. Two final things, Tyler. One, always wear your wristband in the RB. Okay,
no.
just make sure.
For those not familiar with this, last summer, Tyler goes to shoot in the RB, the Richards building, and he's not wearing a wristband, so some student kicks him out. That's not going to happen this summer,
It
is
was the same student over and over again.
Wait, this happened multiple times?
Yeah.
What? Like someone's out.
That is ridiculous.
I'm going to make like a card for you that looks all official that says 6th leading scorer in the country. I can shoot wherever the heck I want on campus.
The second thing is, if you want to give a shout out to the Philippines, do so. I'd like to hear the shout out in Tagalog to the Philippines.
Okay. Gusto kong ibigay ang isang shout out sa mga Filipino ko sa Philippines. Mahal ko kayo, sana maayos kayo lahat. Sa lahat na naapektuhan ng bagyo, sana bumangon kayo.
We don't have all day, Tyler.
Sorry, guys.
Shout outs with Jamal.
Can I translate? BYU Sports Nation is my favorite show.
I love everybody in the Philippines.
We have a Rise Up flag we'd like you to sign if that's all right.
Sweet.
And thanks for the time and good luck as you prepare for next season.
Thanks. Appreciate it, guys.
Congratulations on a fantastic season.
Thank you. All right.